Welcome back to Namatekwita, the Comanche Talk podcast. I'm your host, Ray Taisakai. Today, we are honored to be joined by a few Comanche elders who have dedicated their lives to our people, our traditions, and the future of our nation. All right, well, thank you so much for joining us today. I like to highlight that we are going to be talking to our Comanche elders today, and I'd like to think that elders tend to be kind of like a living library. You know, we learn a lot from our elders. They're kind of our teachers, our guides, and things like that. So thank you for joining me today. At first, let's start with everyone introducing themselves and kind of telling their title in the Elders Council.
Yes, Gary Tomakara. I'm the treasurer of the Elder Council.
I'm Rosalind A. Satami, and I'm the chair.
And Gary is just new elected, so he's got 2 years from October. And Rosalind, chair, and myself as secretary, our terms end next year.
Okay, so thank you for that. To begin, I kind of like to discuss pretty much the vital role of elders when it comes to our tribe. Just like a pretty brief answer, can you share what it means to you personally to be an elder in the Comanche Nation?
Yes. In a fashion, it's surprising to move into that realm of age 62 plus. There was an incident early on, and I disrespected an elder, and Kaku really got on to me and instilled the fact that respect for your elders is just a vital part of life. And so I've always kind of lived with that ethic of certainly respect and try to understand and now that I'm here, I realize that some days are a little more painful than others. Health issues come along, and so, you gain a whole new insight as you mature and age in your own process. So.
What about you?
Well, like Gary said, it's hard to believe that I'm an elder. I've been in my career just so busy. I was a workaholic and still kind of am, but it's just it's a whole new world, like Gary said, because now I realize how important my grandmother was in our life and my grandparents on my mother's side. But we were raised with my grandmother, my paternal grandmother, and she would not teach us Comanche, and that's so sad. And it really is sad that when we have the Comanche Nation Elders Council meetings once a month, it's so sad how many of us our age do not speak Comanche and nor sing, and we have to really encourage the elders to sing, because we have the language class coming every month, and they go over songs with us, hymns, and not many participate. And it really is sad when you stop to think about it. We're nothing like our grandparents, and just in our grandparents in our age, we're nothing like them. And we have separated. And I really blame our generation that's where the separation started coming, because of the drugs, the Woodstock, all of that. Hey. Music. The music changed, and we separated ourselves from our natural being. And so it's really sad now that we can't even pass on any of our heritage other than our demeanor, our words, our love, our concern for our children and grandchildren and other children. and that's all we can pass on. And it's so sad that we don't have, that much to pass on to our children, to the next generations. And so I think it's very vital, because my grandmother said, we would say, "Grandma, teach us to speak Comanche." She said, "This is a white man's world. You're not going to need it." And she would not teach us. And so when I have 6 great-grandchildren, and I teach them all the time things, right from wrong, and you have to study, and once you learn something, you'll never have to learn it again. Those types of things that as they have grown, they've understood those things that, those little seeds that I've tried to plant. And it's so sad that there's nothing from our heritage, and they're actually, 3 of my greats have long hair. They wear braids, and their mother keeps them, that she wants them to hold on to what little bit of heritage they have, and that's really awesome. And my grandson, my oldest great grandson, he plays football in school, and he wanted to cut his hair, and his mother really, talked to him and told him, this is basically all you have except your color, that separates you from everybody else. And so he's taken that, and he goes with it every day. I am Indian. And so his little sister's not quite there. She's only 10, but you would think she's 15, but that's not important to her at this time. But he definitely took hold of it. And the little guy, he's not even there yet. And so, but he does have his long hair, and they really don't dance. They just not in costume rather, but they do go out and participate. So, but like I said, we're not like our grandparents were. Mm-hmm. It's sad.
Or even our parents.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Correct. Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about it?
I love being an elder. I absolutely do. I have a lot of privileges that I never got before, and
she
girl,
takes
I use
advantage
it.
of.
Oh yeah, I do. I use it all. Mm-hmm. So I really love being an elder, and I enjoy really working with our folks, with the elders. I never knew what the elders council was. I thought it was just a bunch of old folks, that just took our money. Eh? But hey, I'm here now, and I get to spend the money. Yeah. So we work hard, and it's not a 9-to-5 job that we do. It's 24/7. I dream it. I dream about what programs we could have. In fact, a young lady walked by a while ago, and she stopped by to tell us there's an interest in some of our elders talking about fraud. And I never thought of that before. Mm-hmm. I did, but I didn't expand on it. So I think that would be a great subject to cover maybe in one of our upcoming meetings. A lot of people call us and say, "Why don't y'all talk about this or talk about that?" And we try to incorporate all of their ideas and their words of wisdom into things that we do. We just recently, which was yesterday, had our Christmas. Mm-hmm. It's not a party. We had a Christmas meeting, I guess. And we got so many compliments. We had a few that weren't on the up and up, but most of it was good.
How many did we actually have?
We had 163 total attended yesterday.
Is that how much usually come?
No, that's every Christmas.
Oh, just Christmas.
Last Christmas we had 178.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. And but we average every month. We average over 100.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
when we started out 2.5 years ago, we started out with like 65, 75.
Yeah.
And then it's been a steady climb ever since then. And when we noticed their interest, it sparked our interest to want to provide more information for them that they could gain by being an elder.
So, how did all of you become involved in Elder Council?
I was rooked. No, no. I just retired, and my sister is the one who kept telling me, "You need to run for elder council." I don't even know what elder council is, except that my mother, who is now 96, she when she was able, she went on the trips and things, and so that's all I really knew about it. And she kept, telling me, you need to run for elder council. So shortly after I retired, then I got elected to be a chair on the elder council. And like Verna said, it is so time consuming. And Verna says, I don't know why. We always have just you and I and just us. We're just always the ones that's doing everything. Nobody's helping us. I said, it's your and my and our ideas that we have to work it, because we have all these, like she said, people telling us things, and we sit down and meet and talk. And because we come from different backgrounds, we each come to the table with new ideas, and we decide, okay, this is what we're going to do. And we had worked with a couple of other committee members who resigned for different reasons, but we always had fun. We always talk and laugh. It's just, we really do have a lot of fun, but it's a lot of work, especially our garden.
Oh, our garden. Yes.
The elders voted, yes, let's apply for the AARP grant. Nobody came but us.
Oh, no.
And we were out there
114
every
degree weather.
day.
We were out there on our little black knees
Oh, my God.
trying to weed the garden.
And the weeds got us. We barely got, we just had very little fruits and vegetables, and the weeds got us. And we're supposed to be getting back out there, but it's just been hard, and we've been, the roller coaster on all these events that we've had and the meetings trying to organize. But we try to get speakers that will provide information that pertain to the elders, because out there, people, their information is general, and we want to capitalize on information that's going to help us in our age group. And we know we're all different levels. We're all different backgrounds. Some have never worked, I assume, and some, have had careers. And so we try to make it understandable, and where they can utilize it at their own convenience. But we really work hard. We really do.
So, what kind of influenced you to join the Elders Council?
I had recently moved back to Cache. Well, not back to Cache. I moved to Cache. I grew up in Walters, and there was a church opening there at First United Methodist Church. So, hey, I've been a Blue Devil most of my life. So lived in Wichita Falls for the last 40 years, and as we moved back, I just heard about the council having a gathering the first Monday of every month, and so I went 2 or 3 times. Enjoyed it. Good programs, good fellowship. It was great to catch up with some people that you hadn't seen in years and years, and so really just a good time to visit. And I think that's kind of what we lack in society anymore, is that COVID instilled in us not to even make eye contact. So that has become a source of you can walk anonymously through a crowd and just never make eye contact, never engage. And so anyway, it was very pleasant to take time to talk, find out what had been happening in the years that went by so quickly. And I think that's what happens to us. We realize that there are more days behind us than there are in front of us. And so it becomes a value issue. If you find that important to relive, or if you want to think about the future, it's always a kind of a mixed bag of emotion where you know that your days are limited and you need to make the most of it and not just be frivolous as the whoever that grasshopper was.
Do you want to add anything to that, kind of why you joined?
Why I joined, I was pushed. I said, I don't want to be in that. I'm not even old. But I'm 76, and I've been with the council now almost 3 years. Mm-hmm. And I've come to know practically every one of them. There's a couple that I don't know, but I'll make it my goal to know who they are now. I've learned so much about each of our elders, and it's almost stunning to hear one of our friends' story, and they surprise you. Really? You did that? Wow. Mm-hmm. And I really just enjoy it.
Good. So kind of tell us some responsibilities and roles that you play in Elder Council. Kind of give us a little insight on it.
I think I do most of the calling. Everybody's, oh, shoot, here she is. She's calling again. But you have to stay on them. You have to constantly keep that communication line open. And anywhere and everywhere, I'll see at Walmart, it's the biggest place. They'll see, hey, there's Vern Ann over there, and they'll come over there, and they'll just start going. I really would like for y'all to talk about this. Blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. And lo and behold, it does come to pass.
Mm-hmm. What are your roles and responsibilities?
As the chair, I feel like that my main responsibility is to keep our committee focused on, and we have to, I want to ensure that we complete, whatever we're doing. Because it's very easy, especially the way our meetings go, we're all over the place. We talk about things, hey, let's do this. Yeah, somebody else says, and they're all excellent ideas, but we got to, okay, let's get back together. What are we going to do? Which ones shall we go with right now? So I feel like that's, my main responsibility is keep us focused and make sure that everything's done. And like Verna said, she does the calls, and I definitely depend on her, because she knows everybody out here practically is her grandson or niece or her relative, and she calls and gets things done. And she, in her background, she's worked a lot with community type programs that she knows how to pull things together. She thinks of a lot of things that I would never think of. When we asked the elders, do y'all want to be in the parade last year during the fair? And they said yes. And so we started trying to think, okay, what do we need? We got to have a float. We have to have this and that. And she started on the phone just calling these different, hey, can you get us a trailer? And so then we would get to some point and, okay, what else do we need? Well, we need some place for them to sit. We can't let them stand up. And so, we have different ideas and we get way out of hand at our meetings because we just laugh and we just think of all kinds of craziness. And but it's fun. That makes it
Yeah.
fun. It's really kind of hard work, but we have so much fun at it. And also that same year, we decided we wanted to make shawls for everybody. We made 75 shawls in maybe 2 months. We were there. And once we got decided on the pattern and the material and where we were going to get it, and we went to town. And we had a lot of volunteers. They like doing
They
that.
like doing that, yeah.
And so, we've tried to have our little groups workshops and stuff, but that's kind of gone to the side since we were working so diligently on the garden. But one of the things that we were planning to do was to participate in the reunion that Chairman Tadenepper was trying to organize with Hamas Pueblo. And so we were trying to make, different things to trade, because Verna said that, in our history, we traded with the Pueblo. And I don't know much about our history, definitely not about our language. We do, my family, the Nonais, we do sing. When my dad passed away, my uncle, his older brother, said, we need to learn to sing Comanche. And so every Sunday after church, we went to his house. We ate together as a family, and we learned to sing Comanche hymns. And of course, my brother Norman, he was, a good, strong singer, and his 2 sons and daughter follow in his footsteps. So, but really, that's where, as a family, we try to uphold that and teach our children, but they're not really interested, unfortunately. But like I said, as far as the Elder Council, the projects that we've had, we wanted to take them. Well, we gave 10 options. What do you want to do? Because we know it's their program. We're just running it, but it's their program. So we gave them option. We have 10 things, 10 places that, where would you like to go? So the majority picked the train ride to Dallas, and we had the most fun,
Yes,
but
we
it was a
did.
lot of work, and the elders loved it. They loved it. But we get a lot of ideas that we want to do, and unfortunately, I don't know if it's on our blood, but we wait till the last minute to get a lot of start trying to do, hey, let's do this. And so we have some problems getting things actually done a lot of times. But we're up here. We come up to the tribe, and we have our ducks in a row when we come. So they understand, and they usually help us. But I think one day they're not going to. Y'all need to do things on a timely manner. But our elders really enjoy the things that we have planned, and we really get a lot out of the thanks. Every meeting, the different elders come and speak to each one of us. Oh, this was such a good meeting, and and of course, like she said, they sometimes have. How about you get trying to find somebody to speak on this or that, and we do. We really try to do what they want us to do, but like I said, that's my role. I feel like is to keep us focused, because we have so many ideas. We could be going so many directions, and we just have to just stay focused and try to get things completed so we can do them.
Well, I know that your role is fairly new. You were newly elected. Have you gotten to a rhythm of your roles or responsibilities?
Not currently. It's just a matter of watching the budget and making sense of what we have to operate with, as well as just keeping things together. Usually the most entertaining part of our council meetings are the birthdays.
Oh, yeah.
As they come forward, they say their name, their age, their date of birth, and then they tell us about their heritage. And you just, those words and those names come to you, and you think, oh yeah, that's where you come from. Oh, and then of course the diversity is just such a bonding agent, I guess, because it brings us all into that realm of, oh yeah, I knew your parents, I knew your grandparents, or that kind of thing, and so it brings us closer together as a community. So as we do things like that, as we've had some very good speakers as of recent too, and just entertainment, that vital information that we could utilize in our daily lives. So all of that. Also, we're a part of the aging council, and that's really been a blessing too. It helps to realize that they were equating the other day a fact that in 2030 maybe there would be more elders than the 18 to
people.
25 younger
Oh, wow.
people.
Yeah,
That our
statistic.
population would be larger than that, and you're thinking, well,
So I
now
guess
wait
we're
a
not going to
minute.
die.
We keep getting better drugs and better medicine and saying, oh, good. And another interesting thing that we do as a council is we recently ordered this Sonopia Comanche medicine woman book. She was of the Eagle Order, and just an interesting glimpse at history. The medicine was natural. It was just and of course she administered it in what did they call it, a pharmacopoeia, I think is how they phrased it, with the that drugs that she used, and knew how to administer them, and knew how to at the right proportions and the right strength, and so all of those things. And we've just kind of gotten into that, and we ordered 125 books for the whole council, and so I think next month when we give those out, it really
February.
opened people's eyes. February, and so again, it's just a beneficial way to learn and grow. And I think that's what happens to elders sometimes, is we become, we take our hearing aids out because we don't want to hear. And so that isolation, that silence sometimes is a detriment to the health. So I think once we understand health in a different way, in a different vein, that possibly might strengthen our people so that we do live longer and more fulfilling lives.
Well, before we move on to our next segment, or part of the segment, if you could tell me, I know that you've only been a part of the board for a few years, why was Elders Council created, and what was its main mission?
I think the main mission was to get the elders together out of the homes, like Gary was just saying, that when elders, they can no longer drive. Their family, it's a lot of elders have children, grandchildren, but they're not interested in them. They got their own lives, and so they're just kind of pushed to the side. And so I think that was probably the main purpose of the Elder Council, just to get everyone out of their homes and together, just to visit, because, as Gary said, it's a healing thing to be with other people, and you can talk and, laugh. yeah, a lot of times I tell them I'm going to bring my ruler next time because people are over here laughing and having a good time. And I'm just saying that because we have speakers that are talking sometimes, and they'll be just cutting up somewhere around in the room. So, but it is that time. But we also want to have these speakers that can give them this vital information. And then I said, once they're done, then we'll have the rest of the time to visit one another, and I really think that that's the main reason that they wanted to get them out, get them together, just to get out of their homes.
I think that's a good reason. So we recently celebrated our annual Elders Day. I think this was my third or fourth day working Elders Day. And obviously it's a huge day for us because we get to celebrate and highlight and, serve and honor our elders. And also elders get their checks. So I know you said you weren't there, but I kind of want to get just some feedback of what y'all thought of Elders Day and kind of what it means to the both of you.
I hate to say it, but hey, I think of it less than what it originally started with.
Can you kind of explain?
Because back in the day, it was really something. I mean, everybody talked about it. Are you going to Elders Day? I'm going to go with Grandma. I'm going to drive Grandma, That was before I became an elder. And it was exciting, and everybody talked about it. But then it kind of dwindled, and it became like chaotic. The last couple of times I was there, the vendors area around the Coliseum, there was too many, and you couldn't really focus on what you were looking for or trying to see because you had to keep the flow going, and there was a lot of pushing and like that. And I think it needs more organization, but mainly we need a bigger event center.
Probably, I agree.
Yes, because our last meeting that we had here yesterday, we had probably almost 200 people, counting the guests and the non-Comanche spouses and the volunteers. And we were like squeezed together in there. So I think our nation needs to focus on getting a bigger event center.
I agree. Yeah, I think we're just constantly growing. More people want
And
to
why
be
not
involved.
combine? I'm just thinking, what about combining the Elders Council and the Elder Day into one program? Like you had Elder Day last Friday, and then come the weekend you got Elder Council meeting day.
To kind of have the elders more involved with Elders Day.
Yeah,
I could see that.
yeah.
I think that's a good idea. The feedback is obviously, I think, is a positive. Whoever listens and kind of tunes into this episode will kind of see and hear from elders.
It's wonderful that the tribe provides a program, and they all do their little Comanche songs and their little Comanche dances and stuff like that. But they do that every year. Every year it's done.
So you
and
kinda
that's
wanna see
wonderful.
something.
But I mean, can't you be more creative about a program? I didn't hear nothing about Christmas. Jesus is the reason for the season. I didn't hear anything of that. Although they're quoted in our hymns that we sing. But did anybody say this is what this song means? Kind of be more creative about how you're presenting to the elders, because I really didn't see much of the elders singing and participating.
That would be a good idea, too, to kind of get them more involved in the program.
Yeah, they should do the program.
Yeah.
And you got enough young people there that we could present to them.
Yeah. That's an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Did you go? Were you
I
there?
did not.
What'd you you didn't either? Oh, so which is very nice.
But
Yeah.
And
I
was
know
the
in
star
the-
of the show.
in the past, it's a bigger event than the elder council, because more people, because of the money,
Right.
that's given to us, which is awesome. More people come from
Afar.
afar, yes. And so you get to see people that you don't get to see, but Elder Day or Walter's Powwow or the Nation's Fair, and that's that's what makes it really, really amazing, because you get to see all these people that you haven't seen since the last Elders Day, and then you see the people, the elders that are there, and I'm glad they have recognition of, like, the oldest elder. And did they do that this year?
They did.
Okay.
And there's one person that always wins, and I swear every month they have she gains a year. Serious.
But I think that's awesome, because the next year they may not be there, whether
That's
it's
right.
whether
Yeah.
it's that they've passed on, or whether they're not able to come anymore. And right now, I mean, my mother, we push her in a wheelchair, although she can still motivate, but not for long distances. And so one thing that I always kind of thought is, sometimes elders can't find a place to sit and they leave, because
Right. I've seen that.
because the elders, of course, like I said, they can't drive, so they have to have somebody take them, but that somebody might have 5 kids, and so they're taking up space that's supposed to be focusing on elders. And so I'm not trying to be mean that kids can't come, although we say that at our
At our meeting.
at
all
our
the time.
meeting. But in our parties, like we've had now, we've had 2 Elderween parties, and we said, no, kids, this is your program. This is your time to have fun. And oh my gosh, we've had our Elderweens have been so successful, because it's like we're little kids again. Everybody dresses up, and we play games that we played when we were kids.
Yeah.
And
Oh, they're so much fun to watch.
we
They're
laugh.
hilarious.
Everybody laughs so hard, and just enjoy it. After this year, when October was approaching, are we going to have an Elderween again? Yes, we have to have an Elderween. But it was just so much fun.
And we started at 5 o'clock with dinner, a full dinner. We were exhausted by 7:30.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we can't last that long. And like Gary said, we're feeling that now, what our grandparents felt when they were oldest, even older than us. But I feel like I have to rest now, and I always thought sleep was something that I didn't need, and my sleep pattern was like 2 or 3 hours a night, and that was it. That was good enough, and I was up and at 'em. But now I cannot do that. I'm finding I have to rest. I have to sit down and rest even while we're doing things, and it's daunting to know that we're getting that. I'm getting that way, but it's just a part of life, but I, like Verna said, it is something people do. They do respect us, when we go different places and things, and people will hold the door open for you, whereas they wouldn't somebody else. But and that's nice. That's always nice. And you, come sit here. You can have my seat. That type of thing. And they're not Indians. They're not always Indians. And so that part is okay. But the rest of it, no, no.
Okay, well, on that, we're going to take a short break. We're going to hear from our PIO director, JJ Sconchin, about all the upcoming Comanche Nation events. We'll be right back.
Hamadatwayakanamana, Nese Jolene Sconchin, and I am the director of the Comanche Nation Public Information Office. Christmas time is here, and there are many events happening in Comanche country that will bring us into the new year. So please take note of the following events. Effective December 17th, all Comanche Nation offices will have new phone numbers. Go to the Comanche Nation website, the Comanche Nation News, and the Comanche Nation of Oklahoma's Facebook page for the updated numbers. In addition, the January edition of the Comanche Nation News newspaper will also have the updated phone list, so be sure to cut it out for your convenience. The Comanche Tribal Court's legal aid clinics will take place from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on December 17th and December 22nd at the courthouse. Contact the Tribal Court for more information. The annual Comanche Nation Arts and Crafts Extravaganza will take place at the Comanche Nation Complex's Watchataker Hall from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Friday, December 19th, and 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturday, December 20th. The event is free and open to the public, so come on by and shop for some unique Christmas gifts for your friends and family. Remember not to forget the Comanche Nation gift shop when browsing for Christmas gifts. They are open from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Their new location is 410 Southeast Interstate Drive next to the Comanche Nation Casino. A Toys for Tots giveaway will take place 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. December 19th at Grace Church, 301 West Kansas Avenue in Anadarko, Oklahoma. For tribal and non-tribal citizens, they kindly ask adults only to attend the event, 18 years and over, to preserve a little Christmas magic and the element of surprise for the children. They will also have another giveaway, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. December 21st and 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. December 22nd, both at the Carnegie Red Wolf Community Center, 100 Kiowa Way in Carnegie, Oklahoma. The Comanche Nation Dallas Outreach will have a holiday party from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. December 21st at its office located at 1269 Record Crossing Road for the Comanche tribal members in the Dallas area. The Comanche Nation offices will be closed from noon on December 23rd for the Christmas holiday and will reopen on December 29th for regular business. The Comanche Nation offices will also close on January 1st for the New Year's holiday and reopen January 5th for regular business. The Comanche Little Ponies will have its annual New Year's celebration powwow on December 27th at the Comanche Nation's Watchataker Hall. There will be a cedar ceremony at noon with the gourd dance beginning at 1 o'clock. There will also be a grand entry and contest in various categories. The Indiana Schools Native American Club will have a Christmas bingo and Indian taco sale at 6 p.m. December 29th at the Indiana School Auditorium located at 307 Ciabatta Street in Indiana. 20 games for $15, and there will be a cakewalk and door prizes. The Comanche Nation's Prevention and Recovery annual Safe and Sober New Year's Eve celebration will take place on Wednesday, December 31st at the Comanche County Fairgrounds, 920 Southwest Sheridan Road in Lawton. Doors open at 7 p.m. Please note that the contact and application information for the programs I mentioned can be found at the Comanche Nation's website, www.comanchenation.com. Also, look at the Comanche Nation News Facebook page, the Comanche Nation of Oklahoma's Facebook page for additional information about events and activities. You can also find us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. Reporting for the Comanche Nation PIO News, Nese Jolene Sconchin. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Ura.
So, as elders, you kind of have lived your life, over the years and kind of witnessed a lot of things, a lot of growth in many ways. So, what are some life lessons that you believe our younger generation should hear just for, being Comanche and being involved in our tribe?
Respect. Respect is not a given. It must be earned. And just because you're an elder doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be respected. You have to earn it.
But for our younger generation, I think that, they do need to understand that they need to respect their elders. But it's so sad that they weren't taught. If they don't know to be that way, they weren't taught. So it's not their their own fault. And I worked with JOM for 1 year, and I had to pray a lot because I did not have patience with kids. And I had to pray and ask God for that patience because I needed a job. And so that opportunity came up. They said, yeah, you ought to come. And I said, all right. But I prayed really hard. And, that was just, it was amazing to me how those kids, you could tell the ones that didn't get it at home. They would, every day they would see me, they'd come up, hi, Mr. JOM, and just, it was so, I was just so amazed. I thank you, Lord, for, helping me to see this, and so I wasn't, my mean self with the kids, I was just compassionate with them because you could just see they were starving for attention. So that's why I say if they don't get it at home, then it's really not their fault. They don't know how to show respect. And so I think that to like my grandchildren's age and with their children, that if they would start teaching their children, and I think they're more likely to have been taught but just chose not to, maybe they are respectful, but they didn't pass it on, and they need to pass it on to their children. And in the Bible, with all that God showed the Israelites, he said, tell your children and their children and their children who I am, because they won't know me. And eventually that's what happened. They no longer worship God, and, so they forgot because they never knew. They didn't actually forget. They just weren't taught. And so God wasn't known by the Israelites. So that's what we need to do as adults. We need to teach our children, teach our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren that respect.
I was impressed with our volunteers that we had yesterday. These young men that are in the treatment facility that we have here,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Prevention and Recovery, they were outstanding. And they showed a lot of respect.
Yes.
Oh, good.
And it was always, Miss Burgess, do you need this? What do we need to do here? And they went above and beyond.
They were respectful
they were very
the
respectful.
elders. Yeah.
Apparently, they're being taught
Yes.
in that facility.
I think you can be taught at any age.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, not only the prevention and recovery people, but also the other programs that we have here with the nation. The Grasshopper program, they were also outstanding. Mm-hmm. We asked other people, and let me see, I don't know, I can call you back.
Food distribution.
I can't wait on you. I need to know now. So
food distribution helped us a lot. They made room to store the buffalo meat for us.
Because we got it a week early.
Yeah, a week earlier, and they offered to, let us store that buffalo meat there.
Oh, well, that's
and
good.
so they, like I said, we really are indebted to a lot of these programs out here. Mm-hmm. They help us a lot because we aren't physically able to do things. And You know, they will come and help us when we're trying to push and tug and carry and, oh, let me help you, you know.
Yes.
So everybody's been, and it's good to have this where we're congregated into one, you know, area, because then they watch out for us. And that's really, really awesome. But like she said, you have to earn the respect. You know, you can't mistreat them for, you know, trying to help you and you trip. You know, that's not their fault. They were trying to help you. But, you know, it's just, you got to earn their respect too. Both ways. It's both ways.
And, you know, kind of talking about this, who were maybe some of your role models or elders that kind of taught you? Kind of give us a little insight on that as well.
Burnt.
It was my kaku. I was very blessed. I had parents that had parents. So on the east side, East Cache Creek, I had grandma and grandpa. On the west Cache Creek, I had grandma and grandpa. So when I got in trouble over here, I didn't do the dishes, or I stuck the dirty dishes underneath the sink so I could get away. Then I would go to my other grandmas over there, and she'd say, "Oh, come on, baby, you know, it's going to be all right. They didn't have to whip you, eh?" And then when I felt like it was over, then I'd go back home where my other kaku and toka was. But I had two grandmas over here, and I had one grandma over there, and I had a mess of uncles and aunts. And that's just the way we grew up.
But you had more where you went to your grandma's to, I mean, she took you out of the pond or stream to wash your hair. And
Oh, yeah, yeah. During the summertime, Gaku would take us. She'd say, "Okay, y'all, come on, we're going to go bathe." She'd take us. There we go. About 10 of us, because I had 4 brothers and 4 sisters. And then I had a mess of cousins that we didn't know they were our brother or our sister. But we were all together, so we'd all go with Gaku down to the creek. We had a certain spot to get to down there, and it was clear. And it was running off of these rocks, you know, like that. And she'd say, "Okay," y'all. She'd get all her little bathing gear together, and then she'd say, "Y'all go on down that way, you're going to get my water dirty." And I remember specifically washing our hair. We'd let Grandma, you know, with the water running down, and Grandma would get this plant that grows by the creek. And it's a bushy little plant, like with white. If you get it wet, it turns into suds. And then she'd wash our head and scrub our scalp. Oh, that was wonderful. I can almost feel it. But yeah, they were very influential in my life, being kind and helping each other. Of course, we were little rotten kids too. You know, we always got in trouble and we always got switched, which is what kids don't get today. They should see me. I could show them how to switch. But somebody that really impressed my life at a time that I needed impression was Iola Hayden. I don't know if y'all have heard of her, but she is a Comanche woman. Her mother was Opal Gore. No, her mother was Sarah Pohoxucut. Opal was her sister. Mm-hmm. And she had a organization that her and LaDonna Harris formed way back in the day, and it was called Oklahomans for Indian Opportunity. And I started my career there. It was a summer job. That darn Kenneth Salpity, he was head of the youth program here. He said, "I'm going to put you over there in Norman with Iola Hayden." I thought, okay, you know, whatever. But I was just about to approach my wild years. And so they said, "Okay, you come to work over there." I showed up in a pair of ragged jeans, a T-shirt, tennis shoes. I was clean, but I was dressed rugged. I walked in, and she said, "That's not going to work here. You go on, get out of here, go put work clothes on, then you can come back." And I stood there at the door, and I started crying, and she said, "What's the matter?" I said, "I don't have no work clothes." And she hollered at our accountant down the hall, "Betty, cut Verna Ann a check."
Oh, wow.
They wrote me a $300 check. She took me down to Dillard's, to the thrift shop. We bought clothes, and that's how I started my career. And from that day forward, I always made a point to dress appropriately, because she said that's what's going to get you in the door, and that's what's good door. If you're not dressed properly, that door's not going to open.
Yeah, I agree with that. Impressions, first impressions mean a lot. Can you think of anyone that's kind of, inspired you and taught you along throughout life that you would kind of want our listeners to hear about?
Yeah, that, of course, growing up in Walters, I was raised by my grandparents, Ida and Wilson Tomakara. And we had several coaches that were natives and Comanches, and so we were just blessed with that opportunity to be recognized special a lot of times with them. And of course, we talked about Comanche Reformed Church. That's where we attended for the first 10 years of my life. And so again, and of course, right across the street to the north were the Nonais. So yes, we all we had our time together.
So I kind of, go ahead. What were you going to say?
With myself, like Gary said, we were raised in our grandmother's home. I had both parents, but we lived in her home, and we learned, I guess you'd say, compassion and how to share, because people came to Grandma's house when they were down and out, and she had a little pump house in the back, and they would stay there for however long they needed. And they ate with us. We ate 3 meals a day. I didn't know we were poor till I went to school, and then saw everybody else had clothes and shoes and, matching. And I just had 2 dresses and a couple of pair of pants. And so that was what I wore all the time, And so when they would come, of course, we weren't aware of why they were there. It was just more kids to have fun with, and we always played all kinds of games. And in those days, and I know, like with them, we didn't have real toys. We made our own toys, and we made our own games, and we perfected ours. We had several really 3 games that we played a lot, just probably every day, and one of them was Indian Expo, but but we had that teaching from Grandma, where her house was open to anybody, and in those days, they stayed a month. They didn't just come to visit, one afternoon. They stayed. If not a couple of nights, they stayed a month or 2. And like I said, we had no knowledge of that they were struggling or whatever. It was never apparent, It was just always love and good times, and then I remember when we would eat and we didn't have anybody staying with. Grandma, she would send the boys to the road, say, go see if there's anybody walking, anyone, walking, bring them in we can eat. Which she would wait for them to come back. Nobody's walking. Okay, well, come on. So I grew up in that type of environment, but my dad was the most influential person in my life. He, talked to us a lot individually, and because I was the oldest, he always said, when I would ask him, can I do this or that? Can I go spend the night? He'd say, have a seat. And he'd say, you're the oldest, so whatever you do and say, you're setting the example for your brother and sisters, and you're saying it's okay. So keep that in mind. And like I said, we may go through our whole life and never know what you do this weekend, or, he said, but if you do, there's consequences for everything you do. Good consequences for the good things, bad for the bad things. He said, and we may never know. We may go through our lives and never know what you do this weekend. But they're not going to say Rosalind Noni did it. They're going to say Haddon and Rose's daughter did it. And that was heavy. That was heavy on my shoulders. And then he said, like I say, we may go through our whole lives and never know what you do this weekend, but God sees everything, so go ahead. Sometimes I'd call my friends, I can't go, because we had plans, and so, but my dad was the most influential in my life, and he was the boss, but he never whipped us. Only one time, because Mom made him whip us. But she was the discipliner, and Dad was the one that talked to us. He talked to us individual, because that speech couldn't be used for my brother or sisters. It was my speech, and he used it every time. I knew it word for word, and I'd ask him anyway, because I had to. But like I said, they were after Dad passed away, and we had his first year, the memorial. I said, my dad ruined the first half of my life, and now my daughter's ruining the second half. So, but it's those things that we remember, that we were taught, that guided us in this life. And my dad said, sister, if you ever get to work for our people, he said, and somebody comes and shakes their finger in your face and you don't know them, don't take it personal. They just need a sounding board. So that's what I always used in all of my days that I was employed. I really had that drilled into me. And it was good. It was good advice that our parents gave us. And they didn't just tell us, they walked it. Mm-hmm. They lived it every day. And that's what I try to instill in my greats.
Well, thank you all for sharing that. And before we wrap up, I would like, if you could, each of you kind of leave our listeners with either, a message or advice or a blessing when it comes to family, especially with Christmas coming up. We're going to be with our families. There's a lot of, things going on, and kind of just leave them with something.
God is the answer, and prayer changes things. I know that for a fact.
Yes. Christmas is just a reminder to us, just like, Veterans Day, and just to focus on those, things, whatever that holiday is. But in these days, it's getting harder. Our money is not going as far. Food cost is going up. Everything is higher, and if the children know that they are loved, all this other stuff, it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter so much, and so. That's one thing that I would, want everyone to know, that we need to share love with one another and tell each other that we love them. And I know that Edmund Navacoya, their family, and I thought it was so awesome when I heard his story, that his dad would, get them together, and he would hug one of them, one at a time. He said, I love you with all my heart. That's awesome. And that's what we need to do with our children, grandchildren, and greats. Love them with all of our heart.
Good words indeed, yes. Life does go by very quickly. And then, there's a time when you just feel invincible, you're just going to keep going. It's not going to change, but evidently, it does change, and you either need to plan ahead, or you run into that fact that, I don't have enough money to do what I would really like to be doing at this point in my life. And so I think that's something we tend to take for granted. Well, the government will take care of us, or, oh, I can always go to the tribe for this. But it's not always a given, and sometimes it's difficult to be humble in that situation a lot of times. And so just kind of think ahead a little further than the moment.
Yeah, I think that's a good advice. And again, I want to thank you all for being here today and sharing, your wisdom and guidance. And until next time, listeners, always remember to take care of yourselves and take care of each other. We'll catch you on the next one.
Thanks for having us.
Of course. Thank you.